and helping our churches to reach out. The one thing when I started in the promotional office, I asked pastors, what is it that you most needed or most wanted the promotional office to be able to help with? And hands down, it was we need help in the areas of evangelism. And so in thinking about all of that over the traveling Virginia, I began to think about grace outreach and how we could use that to minister. So that was a second phase. And of course, now with that came the software where that could be used to help manage and administrate the working of not only grace outreach, but the evangelistic efforts. And so it took not only the ideas, but the development, getting a software company, the funding of which so many of you contributed greatly to help us be able to fund that. As soon as we got it funded, software completed, handed to us in February, COVID hit March. And we were not able to go to the national and present it there. And we weren't able to last year, but this year we are going to be sharing that, and I'll give you much more work on that. So that was phase 2. Phase 3 of our development is the evangelistic website. And that was what we've done with that. That is being further developed, but it's actually inside the Grace Outreach program. We felt like that was the best place for the evangelistic things that are going to be available to be within the program itself. So it's not just a separate website somewhere, it's incorporated within the Grace Outreach. Phase 4 is what we call Grace Bible. And that was what we were wanting to have, a research and Bible study website, but there would be a good, safe place as much as possible for people to be able to go to. You've gone to ones like Bible Hub, Bible Gateway, Blue Letters, you know, some of those that have a lot of robust different types of materials that are available many different places. One of the things I didn't like about that was just some of those are so filled with advertisements and things, you don't really get a clean experience when you get there. And so that's phase 4. We really had hoped to have that ready for the state meeting and the national. We're probably 2 to 3 months out from that being completed. I'm going to show you a mock-up of that here in just a moment. But the fellow from Gateway that's helping us, Daniel Jones, he's helping to get all the background information where when you hit a link, it goes to all these different things. He's helping us set that up. And by the way, we couldn't have done this without his help. He has the expertise in that area, and he's volunteering all of his time and efforts to help us get that done. But I talked with him before this. He said probably 2 to 3 months we'll be ready to go. And that's what we're doing there. We're nearing completion of phase 4, which is this Grace Bible. And then we get to phase 5, which was our last one. And that's where we can try to use all of the different areas of technology to help in the areas of church planning and mission work. When we first started Grace Mission, I went to the department heads. I talked to each one and told them our development, how we were approaching all of this. And they gave a very good response and have kind of gotten on board with where we were headed with this. And so we're almost there to that last phase, and we will be. So let me share some more things here. Now, our 3 main ministries right now is Grace Mission, Grace Bible, Grace Outreach. You can see on the sign over there we have Grace Today broadcast. Now, we had that. Right now, it is suspended temporarily. With COVID hitting, churches began to do their own live streams. By the way, that's good, not for COVID, but that was good because a lot of churches at the time weren't doing that. And so many were kind of forced into doing it. But that's what's part of the goal is get the word out as much as we can, you know, in the ways that are available to do that. And so when I began to go back and look what we were doing in the broadcast, we were getting not as many views. The churches were getting the views. Good. But for the amount of time that it was going into the production of that, getting it ready, getting it up for the views, I didn't feel at the time it was the best use of my time to keep investing that amount of time every week to doing that. And what this is, we're going to be revamping this. And again, that part of Grace Today is going to be part of the Bible study website. And you'll see where that will be in, here, in just a moment. So that kind of lets you know when you say, well, what happened to that? That's why. It's not gone completely, it's just temporarily suspended. So let me talk to you about Grace Bible. Now, Grace Bible is a research and Bible study website. It has extensive resources, be a variety of things. I'll show you the links here in just a moment. It's going to be distinctively Free Will Baptist. What we are hoping for is that if somebody wants to come to a place where they can get Free Will Baptist preaching and teaching, studies, audio, visual, any of these, Grace Bible would be the place to go to that will link. Now, that's going to be an ongoing thing where we have to link to, let's say some of you are doing some preaching, it's up on YouTube or whatever, you're preaching through a book. We want to be able to link to that if somebody comes to this site and they want to see some Free Will Baptist preaching on 1 John. There'll be links there with that pastor. They can link, it'll go right over to your site, but then they can get it. They get it straight from us. And again, this is just going to be an ever-growing resource where we want to pool all of this together. And we're going to be reaching out to many different entities to try and help us to get all of this information. So that's it. And again, we want a very clean experience. Here's, let's see. This is a mock-up I've done, but it's very, 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 very close to the way it will actually look. Brother Daniel and I have gone over the design of this. You can see it's just basically the Grace Mission. There'll be links here, Bible reference, Bible resources, and about Grace Bible. These will be links to a variety of different Bible versions. There'll also be in this area here a Bible reference where you can compare 4 different Bible versions together. And again, that's what a lot of these other sites are able to do too. But it's going to be, you can type in a passage, you can search for words, different things like that. And so, but now these links that you see here, these are actual picture, they aren't linked yet, but these are the actual pictures that would link on there. Whether you're able to see it right now, you've got maps, sermons, reading plans, devotions. There's the Free Will Baptist. I'll come back to that in a moment. Commentaries, Bible commentaries, interwoven gospels, interlinears, Bible encyclopedias, Bible dictionaries, Strong's Concordance. There's another link to Bibles, topical Bible, timelines, search tips on being able to find what you want to find when you get there, parallel gospels, multilingual, and then measures and metrics, all kinds of different things that would relate back that you might find in the scriptures. But again, right there, you're going to see up there is the Free Will Baptist. When it links there, it's going to go back to the other sites where we will have everything collected that we can get for Free Will Baptist preaching and teaching. Again, that will be video, audio, studies, and things that might have been written that people will make available for us to put on there. It'll all be able to be found right there. And then down at the bottom, it's just a little bit about Grace Bible, to whom it belongs. Of course, it belongs to the Virginia State Association. There'll be a link to Grace Mission and Virginia Free Will Baptist. But now, there will be some advertisement on here, but the advertisements are going to be Free Will Baptist. It may be in smaller things up here, but for instance, Free Will Baptist Foundation. I mean, they have given, with 2 different grants we've gotten from them, have invested very much for us to be able to do what we're doing. North American Ministries, heavily invested in the things that we are doing here. And again, it's not that we're not going to advertise for others, but we want to feature where people can go and find Free Will Baptist information. And we're going to be connected to all of our departments and things like that, because it is about what we're doing together collectively. And so right now, we're hoping in 2 to 3 months this will be complete. You'll see some advertising that will come out about that. And as much as you can, once you see it, experience it a little bit, we'd like for you to possibly recommend to your church members to begin to utilize this resource, because it's there for us. And then any recommendations that you might have about that, we would like to be able to know that from you as well. Next, I want to talk about Grace Outreach. Now, Grace Outreach is an evangelism outreach management program software and app for local churches. Now, the little thing that you see there, that's what it looks like on a phone. The way this operates, Grace Outreach, whether it operates, if you use the software part of it, it will look different on a computer, tablet, phone. It will work on any of those devices. Rather than having an individual app all by itself that you'd have to either go to Apple or Android, this is made universally that it will adapt itself to whatever, so that you don't have to have a separate app. And by the way, as you will see here in just a moment, it's not only that you as an administrator of the Grace Outreach program, if you use this, you can use it on any device. A pastor can actually schedule visits, letters, phone calls, whatever, you could do it all on your telephone while you're sitting in a hospital waiting or whatever. But your people who are participating in Grace Outreach can also have access to their level of Grace Outreach, where assignments will come to them right on their telephone or computer or tablet, and you can interact back and forth. Now, let me talk about the GO approach. What it does is it, first of all, motivates involvement. If I can give you a quick background, part of my doctoral work was, especially in preparation for my dissertation, had to deal with motivating factors as it related to Sunday school and teaching and learning. What were the major motivating factors that would cause somebody to want to get involved? You know, when we were in school, we were motivated okay, you have an exam coming up, and if you don't do well, you fail. Well, there's a motivation to study, although it was not a positive one. That's an outer factor, something that's pushed on you. But yet, when somebody has a need that already exists on the inside and they want something, they will volunteer themselves to do it. If you have a need, you've gone all day without drinking water. Nobody's going to have to twist your arm if there's a nice, cold bottle, fresh spring water that would wet your, everybody, I want that right now. You know, but you would sense the need for it. You're going to want to reach out when it's given and take it. When there's 10 major motivating factors, all of those are incorporated within the program. I'm not going to go over all those, but all of those are in here that will cause people to want to do. I really believe, I believe that our people mostly want to have an influence for Christ. I believe that most would like to say, I'd like to be able to be involved somehow in seeing somebody come to Jesus. But oftentimes the things that we have shared, the way they can do that, they're either uncomfortable with right now or they're just not going to do it. Okay, maybe they should, but they're not anyway. But when they can find something where they look at it and say, well, I like that. I can do that. See, that just met a thing of need, choice, and feedback. Competence. There's 4 motivating factors right there when they say, I can do that. When they go and do it and they enjoy it and have fun with it, they're going to want to come back and do it again because they had fun doing it. They feel a sense of accomplishment that they help the church in the overall outreach. Again, that's reinforcing. And so it's a motivating involvement. And that second part, sustaining participation. It's easier to keep people sustained in their participation if they're doing what they like and they see an effectiveness that comes from it. Now, part of the work of the Grace Outreach is organizing the efforts. And not many of us get very excited about organization and administration. That's when we want to go to sleep or run from the room screaming. But, Jesus organized his disciples 2 by 2. He administrated by telling them where they needed to go and what they needed to do when they got there. Why? Because he said he would be more effective when he got there because of the way he organized getting them there before him. And if Jesus did that, I think it's at least wise that we consider doing the same. And so this program will help organize the efforts, and it will help in the managing of the operations. Now, I will tell, and I've told pastors this, if you will not put the time into the organization and the administration, don't start it. Because it's not going to pop on people's phones and everybody go, yay, and they're going to be out evangelizing. It's going to take work on your part, but our part in And doing that work is going to help others do what you're really wanting them to do, which is to go out and evangelize as they've selected what they want to do. And it's going to help you get through all of that. Now, here's something, this is kind of on the inside, the GO methodology. The GRACE that we have, Grace Outreach, GRACE is an acrostic for guiders, reapers, adapters, communicators, and edifiers. That's where your GRACE comes from. Now, guiders are those who learn the program or learn their area of responsibility so well that they want to help lead that particular area. Like, let's say, communicators. Somebody would sign up to be a communicator. They wanted to learn that and help lead the communicators. All right, they would also sign up perhaps or later become a guider. They will help you in that. And again, it's an organizational thing, but it's all going to be also a time-consuming thing. So guiders are those that lead particular areas. And by the way, people get to choose what they want to do. They're not made to do anything. Because again, that's pushed from the outside. It's a negative approach. They may do it for a little while if they're pushed, but haven't we all realized that when we tried to get people and push them into something, they stay there for a little bit, but when the pressure of the negative feeling dies, then so does their motivation to do it because of why they were doing it. But anyway, some will sign up to be guiders. Some would sign up to be reapers. Now, the reapers are those who want to go soul winning. They want to go knock on somebody's door. They want to be given opportunities to talk to somebody about Jesus. I mean, that's what gets them. That's what they want. Okay, they can sign up to do that. Every time they come on outreach night, they're going to be given an assignment that will help them do exactly what they want to do. Adapters, and by the way, each of these break down into subcategories. I'm not getting into all of those, but there are different aspects of each of these categories that somebody could sign up for, like a reaper, a particular area of reaping that they could do. Adapters are those who, they'll do anything. Doesn't matter. They come in on outreach night, they'll do whatever is necessary, whatever you need. And I've really been pleasantly surprised as to how many have signed up to be adapters. They're willing to be used in any particular capacity on any given night. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking close to 40% of those who sign up as adapters. Very surprising, but I think, again, that shows part of the heart of those that are involved. Now, communicators are those who communicate by a variety of areas. It could be phone, letter writing, social media, some other areas. But the social media is getting, I tell people, it's not a matter of getting on Facebook and say turn or burn, unless they want to see their numbers drop on Facebook. But it's how to use social media and things like that to help enhance people's view and understanding of the church, of the local church, what's going on there, what they promote, how they speak about it, which again enhances the overall experience of those that might be interested in church. But some people might want to go, they like to write letters. Probably one of the most successful areas of this is the letter writing. It has been phenomenal. I wish I could have time to tell you some of the stories that pastors, I remember some from Brother Paul's church that happened even on their first outreach night. But they can sign up for different things that they want to do. They come, and I'll show you later in the software how all of that is laid out so they know exactly what to do and when to do it. And then the last are edifiers. Edifiers are those who are going to come along and help in a variety of areas. Some churches have a large enough number of people coming out on a particular for outreach that you can't have everybody out on one night because there are just so many. But some churches, I know for a while that Brother David Sexton, their church, they had a meal night where people that were, they had jobs where they couldn't get out in time to get home, get everybody fed, and get there for outreach. So the meal is provided for them on that outreach night. They come in, have their thing, then they get right up from there and they go about their particular responsibility. It could be child care. A lot of times, for me, in visitation, my favorite visiting partner is Debbie. But, there's some families, they got children at home and the husband might be able to go, but the wife can't go. He's staying home with the children. But here, somebody might not do some of these other areas, but they'd be willing to take care of child care for those who are coming out on outreach night. Now, that, again, it's organized that you know exactly who's coming out, and you know that's supplied. But people are signing up for that. They're doing something that's helping others get involved in other areas of outreach that they wanted to do, but yet they're contributing to helping expand the number of people that are there helping in the outreach. Again, that's an edifying type of ministry, but it still is collectively helping the church reach out. There's visitation to shut-ins, visitation to hospitals and things like that, and other things, even prayer partners. So anyway, there are subcategories that come down from this, but it helps the church overall complete what they do. One of the encouraging things that we have seen in the program is that some, let's say, that started as communicator, they just didn't feel like they could go and be a reaper. They just couldn't do that. But being around those who are doing it and seeing them, they go as a silent partner occasionally. It's something they would choose to do, go as a silent partner, and then later come back and cross over from communicator over to becoming a reaper because they were able to experience it in a comfortable enough way to see what happens, how it was working, didn't feel the pressure when they got out there to do something they didn't know how to do, but they learned it by seeing others, and then they've crossed over to that particular area. We've seen that type of thing happen, and that's been tremendously encouraging. The Go software, it's cloud-based software and app. So when it operates on any device, that is any type of smart device, computer, regardless of which one you have, when you sign up for that, you get your own church database. There's only 2 of us that can actually see other churches that are there. That's Brother Rick Gregory out of the Good News Church. He was the one that helped me in the development of this, and myself. Other than that, you can't get out of your church database to get to somebody else's. It's yours. It's set up just for you and your church. And then the participants also get an app. So if you're using this program and you as an administrator assign, let's say, Brother Mark here was, and I was pastoring a church, Brother Mark was there and he was a reaper, and I had a visit I wanted him to make. I could assign that through any of my devices. It would ding on his phone. It would show him the visit that needed to be made. The address, by the way, would pop up on automatic mapping directions to that house. It will tell him what needs to be done, who the person is. Any other contacts that have been made with that person or family previously will be there in a history list that he can see. So he knows exactly what he's walking into, what others have said, what the other effects were of those visits. When he's go and does it, he's got a time stamp on how long, that you would assign for him to do it. Then he would do it within that time frame. When he's finished making that visit, he can go right there to the app and type in his information as a response that it's completed and what the response of that was. He submits it, it'll ding back at the church database, and we'll wait for you as an administrator to update it. If there are some things there you don't want everybody to see in a history later, you get to update that, and then that becomes part of the history. And the only way that visits or contacts will be lost is if you don't check your dashboard. I'm not talking about your car dashboard, the dashboard here for Grace Outreach. You'll always be able to know if they are completed, and if it's not, then you can make contact with the person to make sure or reassign it to someone else so that that can get done. And again, that's what it looks like on a telephone right there. And I'll get to the points of that. Now, this is the accessibility of this. It's free to all Virginia Free Will Baptist churches because this is a ministry of the promotional office for which you have established this office. Then everything that we do belongs to the state. And so for all of our churches, now we would ask that churches support the promotional office, but at the same time, this is, we're here to serve our churches, so it wouldn't be right for us to charge you for something you're already paying us to help produce and to help. So, but we also have made this free to all National Association Free Will Baptist church planners and missionaries. I'm talking about any state, national, if they're connected to the National Association, if they're Free Will Baptist, they part of our denomination, and they're involved in church planning, missionary, anywhere around the world, they can use this program. There's no cost for them to do that. Now, outside of Virginia, not missionary, we do have $480 yearly subscription, and that helps us. Not only to advance, and we do need to advance some things, It's not only going to help us advance that, but it also helps eventually come back and support our promotional office through Grace Mission. And that's part of it's not the full purpose for why we did it, but that is a kind of an undergirding support system for the promotional office. And even just getting 100 churches signed up for this would be huge to be able to help us on the state level for the promotional office. And I will tell you, my heart from the very beginning, when we started doing this, was to build things that the Virginia promotional office will be secure, at least a secure financial base that we can continue to do what we need to do. And so our success in this area is very important. And so I would ask you to pray about doing what you can to help promote it. At the National, we've got a 20-foot booth that I mentioned to you before. I'm going to have some handout materials, some pictures and things about Grace Outreach and Grace Bible. I would love for you to stop by, pick up 20, 25 of those, and just go out, if you're there, and hand them out to your friends, to other pastors. You need to go over there and you need to check that out. And then we will take them through everything that's there. Now, I'm going to take you inside the Grace Outreach program. After you sign up, you'll come to a login page. And that's my login. Now this, what it's logging, I'm a super administrator. I have to read that just to remind myself of how great I am. No, I'm kidding. Super administrator means I get to look at everything there. When a church, by the way, you get into the program, you're using this and you run into a glitch or a problem, I can come in here and look at your church and help resolve what's going on for you. Then I back myself right back out of it. But that's, so let me switch accounts here and show you an example. We'll go to the sample church. Now this is the dashboard of the Grace Outreach program on the computer. Now, don't have a lot of things here because I made up everything. But if you look over here, apart from the super administrator, this is what you would see on your dashboard. This shows the dashboard. This is a thing that shows you how many prospects you have, how many active participants you have, total number of assignments that you've made. And that's current for that particular week or area that you assign for it. Now, there's nothing here as far as assignments. I've not made any for this yet. But whenever you go to under assignments and assign something, it will pop up in this particular area showing the assignment, the start date, the prospect's name, the participant's name that's doing that particular event, the end date, when that's supposed to be complete. And this over here will show you the status as to whether it's complete or not, or is it still pending? Is it past due? Again, if you check your dashboard, you will know exactly what's being done as far as contacts are concerned. It's going to be right there, and you can follow up, do all the follow-up you need. If you're going to make assignments, you go to the assignments thing. Again, those assignments are there. This little blue circle down here, you would just hit that. It brings you to the new assignment page. You can type in prospects. These, again, are made-up names except this middle one. That was Debbie's mother's name. Let's say Grandma Moses. That's your prospect. You're going to go see Grandma Moses. Well, right there is her address, Grandma Moses at oldpeoples.home. But the address comes up of a participant name as to who's going to go make that contact with Grandma Moses. Well, I'm going to use Paul the Apostle right there. So it was late night and I was trying to make up stuff. You do the start date. So we'll start it today, and let's say we're going to do it to be completed on the 23rd. I can select the type. Let's say Reaper. In other words, that person is going to be going to, and there'll be witnessing that's going on that's needed. See, the address is already filled out. And then you have assignment notes. Now, if you look right down here, just above the cancel, this is not, you can't save the assignment yet because there's a note here. You come into the assignment notes. All right, she needs to get saved. You see, when I typed that in, the thing turned blue there, save the assignment. So when I save that, right now, it shows, for instance, when this would pop up on Paul the Apostle's phone or whatever, there is the information about what needs to be done. There is the, let's see, I guess I got to go back to the dashboard. Okay, you see now it popped in on the dashboard on what needs to be done. And so it's not showing it the way it would actually come up on his phone. Okay, there it is right there. It says she needs to get saved. But see, it shows all the information here. And if he was going to make that visit, he could tap on the map and it will give mapping directions to that home. Plus a little thing like you see over here, assignment feedback. That's where once that visit is made, types it right in from the phone or smart device, whatever, and it goes immediately back to your database to complete. You can, these are prospects. So like this Jeremiah Lewis here, again, made him up. Last contact was March 27th, 2022. So you can come to these areas like last contact after all your contacts are in there. You can hit that and then align them to see, okay, which are the ones that were, you know, a long time ago that I haven't visited or we haven't made contact with. It's all right there that you can realign them however you need to. If you're trying, you know, once you get a long, we have one church that has over 1,000 contacts in there now. Well, that'd be a long list to have to go through, but if I started typing in Moses, you see what happened when I started typing in, she popped up there at the top. So you're able to find it and then make that assignment straight from there. And again, you come into prospects, that little blue arrow down at the bottom. It gives you the information that you would input there about that person, then they become part of your prospects. You do the same thing for adding participants. If you look right over here, this shows the different grace roles. There's your GRACE. You can see these other little things here. For instance, if you were making visits and you needed a lot of adapters, you can go to that right there and it'll line up all your adapters up at the top so you can see exactly who those are. You don't have to search through a great long list. You can see some of these other little things like with the M, P, and S right there. This is like Paul the Apostle is a communicator, mail for sending letters, for phone, and social media. So there's little sub things where you look at that. There's not many of those to memorize, but you get to see exactly what they signed up to do. Like somebody down here, Priscilla Christian, was a communicator, but only in mail and phone. So you would know how to assign her rather than social media. So all of that can be found right there. Now, one of the main things here that I want you to see is the Grace resources. We have incorporated within this a lot of resources that you can use, not only to help you, but to help those who are involved in Grace Outreach. There is app training. So by the way, this is available to you. This is available to everybody who is involved in your Grace Outreach program that uses the software. In other words, they can have access to all the resources as well. Right here is for church administrators. This is the Go app training. I have 13 videos here on every aspect of setting up the account as well as the Go dashboard, the participant roles and duties. And it goes one by one. They're about 5 to 7 minutes long. There was someone that was working on this that was kind of new to the program, was asking some questions. We directed him back to this, listened to all the videos. He pretty much had all the answers because it's right there. It takes step by step how to go through and do everything that you need to do. So again, you're not left alone with that. Oops, sorry, I got out of the program. For app training also, there are for your participants. This is a printout so that when you sign them up, there's a procedure that we will show you and give you information when you sign up on how the people in your church can get this on their phone. There's no cost for them once you're in the program. This is just supplied. You can, everybody, you have 1,000 people in your church, and 1,000 people can get their own access to your, who are participants in the program. But this is a thing that you can print out that will show them exactly what to do every step of the way so that they can get their own program. On communication, we have communication templates. Oh, that's not good. All right, it's not letting me in on that. Any of that, has that ever happened to any of you? For whatever reason, it's not recognizing it. Let's see if it'll open a new link. No. What that is, I will check later to find out what's going on with that. It worked yesterday. The communication templates are a variety of things that, let's say you have a first-time visitor. You assign somebody to write a letter, or it could be a visit or a phone call. When they're assigned that, they can go to the Grace Resources, first-time visitor, click on that. It will bring them up. It automatically goes to that template, and it shows them what they could write. It's not verbatim. They don't have to do it verbatim, but they can use that to handwrite the letter, do that, submit it, turn it in, or if they're going to make a phone call, at least it gives them the basics of what to know when you're talking to a first-time visitor. What would you say, you know, in that phone conversation? So there's like 20 or 30 different templates that are already there. I think as the program advances more, we want to get some feedback from different churches, maybe letters that they wrote that we can incorporate into that as well. There's a Go registration form. Now, this is a downloadable file from on Word, but this is where you're going to sign up people in your church. They can fill out the information right there, click what they want to be involved in, and then that will go right back to you. In the areas of evangelism, there's some e-books that I've done. Again, this will be continuing to advance more and more, but here's one on understanding what it all means, advantages of pre-planned approach, and then beginning gospel presentation. So there'll be more things there for people to read and learn what to do. And then lastly, here are promotional areas. This will be increased every quarter. There are flyers. And so like any one of these are ones that we design and pull up there. These are generic ones that you can put up in your church to be able to help people get involved in Grace Outreach. So, you know, that's just new ideas for making a difference. And so there are all kinds of signs and things there that you can do and use. There are graphics that you can either use in bulletins or on your screens. Grace Outreach, basic ones there. But let's say just, you know, you just put this one graphic right there on visiting. Maybe another one another week, something on letter writing. Again, it's introducing it, keeping it before people, but at the same time helping them to know that there's an aspect of this that where they can get involved in outreach. And then we also have videos that you can play if you have the capability of doing that. You can download these. So there's the ones we have right now, Make a Difference, Someone Needs to Go, so forth. So these are just generic ones that will help people understand. When people can see that other people, other places are being effective, they're involved in Grace Outreach, it's encouraging for them to do the same. And so let me just mention this, we'll be done now. One of the best ways for Grace mission to start is through a Grace Outreach Revival. And you don't have to, but I will tell you, and I think if you talk to the other pastors, even some that are in here that had this, I think they will tell you that's probably the best way to start it. I have 5 messages on evangelism that stair-steps us from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, that brings folks, I think these pastors will tell you, it's been interesting to watch what happens as the people, their fears begin to drop, and they begin to get encouraged about what they can do. And so I would encourage that if you're interested, you can do it that way. And actually we have an idea for those churches that are outside of Virginia, that if they will hold and take care of the expenses of a Grace Outreach Revival that we go there and hold, we will give them 1 year of the Grace Outreach software for them to be able to use, and they can make a choice after that whether they want to continue using it or not, because they can still do Grace Outreach without it, but they will, through that means, they can start it, get involved, and hopefully be able to use the other. I've started doing some forgiveness conferences, held several of those now. That has been, I think, very impactful in the churches where that has been. A lot of folks have really been changed and so there's 5 messages on different aspects of forgiveness. And I'd love to be able to talk to you about that. I also am involved in helping do a Revelation Sunday or weekend where we emphasize some messages out of Revelation and actually do some teaching, timeline of Revelation, outlines and things that make it a little more simple to understand at least as much as possible. You can contact us to be able to do that. Of course, I've got my book, The Revelation of Jesus Christ, an explanatory and practical commentary. And again, I might as well go ahead and say, I mean, it's gotten some good reviews from those who have read it, and it's been very helpful for not only pastors, but for lay people as well, to kind of put it down on the shelf for them to be able to use. I've got some of those back there. You can see me, but that can be available. Of course, Virginia, VAFWB.org. You can sign up to be and get the weekly plumb line that comes out every Friday. Then on the bottom right there, you'll see I also have a website, dbrucebarnes.com, and there you can get print books, ebooks, music that I'm doing, Bible studies, and I also have a weekly devotional that actually goes out to the residents at where we live now. There's about 700 residents, and that's made available every Monday. That's kind of giving me an outlet of trying to reach the people in the Westminster Canterbury place where we live, and they're actually printing that for me. But we also have it online. If you'd like to be able to get that every Monday, you can go to the dbrucebarnes.com and sign up for that. And just as far as the Grace Bible, you can see there at the very bottom, gracemission.online/Bible. That will be the link. It's not up and running yet, but that will be the link when that comes up for the Grace Bible website. Listen, thank you so much for being a part of this. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to talk about that, I'd love to be able to talk with you a little bit more, and hopefully this helps to understand the Grace ministries a little better as well as the Grace Outreach. And thank you. You're dismissed.